patterns changed by AI. In this lesson, we'll discuss the pattern for the 3 to 4 point small knights approach and one space low pincer. Since there are quite a few choices for the one space low pincer pattern, I will pick a few familiar or common moves to explain to you today. First, let's look at the most common move, which is the press. From the perspective of AI patterns, black's press is now the top choice. Next, white must push and cut right here. If white chooses the crawl pattern, AI considers it a net loss. The push and cut move is also an old traditional move played by humans. In the old human pattern, white plays a knight's move here and black plays Hain. But AI believes both of these moves are problematic. First, white's knight's move should be a diagonal move. Human intuition usually suggests that the knight's move is safer. Because if you play a diagonal move here, it seems black might have a placement later or a second line knight's move if there is a stone here. So, our usual feeling for this shape is that placing it on the third line yields more points. However, AI thinks black now has an excellent move here. This Atari exchange with white is obviously a profitable move. If white doesn't play Atari, white can choose to turn. But these exchanges naturally help black build thickness. Next, if white plays elsewhere, black can continue to turn, making white very uncomfortable. If white fixes the shape now, these inside-outside exchanges will help black build thickness on the outside. If white still plays a solid extension, it leaves behind a lot of bad adi. For example, if black plays an attachment later, white cannot Hain, and the cut is very severe. With an Atari on top, white can only attach, allowing black to clearly profit. So when black attaches, white might only be able to capture. Generally speaking, when black plays this move, white's counterattack is not profitable. The proper move is to simply capture. Then, black's knight's move or jump is clearly more efficient than a Hain. In this variation, AI considers it profitable for black. Therefore, white's diagonal move is slightly better than the knight's move. Similarly, the efficiency of this Hain is clearly lower than the knight's move. Well, regarding the variation of the small knight's move and push and cut, the judgment between AI and humans has a slight difference, though the net loss isn't particularly huge. Next, let's look at white's crawl and black's solid extension. In the past, humans rarely played the second line knight's move, usually preferring to jump. But from AI's perspective, we find that jumping out actually helps black build strength. Next, the black's simplest move is to push and push again here, and white must respond. If white plays a two-space extension on the left, the double Hain is of huge value. Usually, white will play Hain, black plays Hain, and white plays double Hain. Please note that AI's choice here is quite different from how humans used to play. In the past, humans liked to settle the shape here, pushing and cutting to force white to connect. Then, black plays an underneath attachment, followed by an Atari and a solid extension. AI believes that whether it is the underneath attachment or the Atari and solid extension, black profits in cente. However, from AI's perspective, it doesn't actually consider this profitable for black. On the contrary, it considers black's exchanges in this area to be a net loss. White now takes cente to extend on the left, as the center's value isn't that significant. AI believes black's correct move here is to simply play a solid extension. Once black plays the solid extension, white actually has to fix the shape. White has two ways to fix a solid connection or a tiger's mouth. Currently, the tiger's mouth is becoming more common. Because if white connects here, black still has the option to push and cut on the right or the left later. If black emphasizes the underneath attachment, black can cut on the right. Theoretically speaking, whichever side black cuts, white should capture the cutting stone on that side. By mastering this principle, black cuts on the right for an underneath attachment or on the left to Atari and jump out. Alright, even after white connects, black can still profit from the push and cut. So white generally plays a tiger's mouth here. Next, black plays a pincer attack. Since the top is a soft head, black can be said to have built complete and absolute influence. In this variation, AI considers the fight favorable for black. Black's move after the push is very simple and clear. Please note that white cannot play elsewhere at this moment, because if white plays elsewhere now, black won't just push and cut like before. Black won't play an Atari like that. Black has a much more severe move, which is to Atari here, and then play a descent. This move is clearly better than playing an Atari from this side to capture one white stone in a ladder, because undoubtedly white is not fully alive in the corner and the three outside stones are cut. Without a doubt, white's burden becomes much heavier. Alright, so this is a variation that differs from how humans used to play in the past. If white jumps, black pushes, plays Hein, and extends. This fight is favorable for black. Therefore, white will choose the knight's move. Then, black calmly fixes the shape on top. Next, white might play a knight's move or a two-space extension on the left, and black continues to press at the bottom.
Pressing white on the second line, if white chooses to push and cut, black is not afraid of this fight. This is the variation for the knight's move.
It is indeed quite different from traditional human moves. The main difference is after the push, choosing between the diagonal move and the knight's move, also after the crawl.